Hey everybody, it's Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today, we're going to be discussing the Melody Pokemon known as Meloetta. So let's get started by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, if you don't know already, this Pokemon actually has two different forms, which you can interchange between in the match by using this move that it gets known as Ancient Song. This particular form of it is the voice form, as it says at the top. And with this form, you have the typing that is normal and psychic, which is similar to Girafarig, which is really cool because you're only weak to bug and dark because normal is immune or gives you an immunity to ghost, which psychic is normally weak to. So that's a really cool thing about the typing. But as for the ability, it is known as Serene Grace, which is generally a really awesome ability, but this Pokemon doesn't really have the moves that could really exploit it, similar to the way that Jirachi and Togekiss do, because of the fact that it doesn't really learn any like ridiculous flinching moves or something like that. There is one move which it can make use of though, which is Charge Beam, because that will give you a special attack boost every time, and you'll see that later in one of the sets, but that's really the only useful option in my opinion. But as for the stats for the voice form, it has 100 HP coupled with 77 defense and 128 special defense, which means that it will be able to take a lot of special attacking damage, but not so much on the defensive side. Still though, the 100 HP is great for the buffer zone that your physical defense does not allow for generally because it is kind of average to low. So really, it's only really a defensive Pokemon if you're taking special defensive hits or something to that effect. But for its attacking stats, it has 77 physical attack and then 128 special attack, which is really great to attacking if you're thinking along the special lines, but the physical attack is not actually as good, as you can obviously see. So this Pokemon will definitely be able to do a lot of special damage in this form. But as for its last stat, speed, it is at a pretty good 90, meaning that it definitely can be a speedy Pokemon, but won't really be outspeeding a ton of things that you may come in contact with in your battles and things like that. So it is fast, but it's not blazingly fast, as you might consider other Pokemon with better or with similar attacking stats to be. Now when you use the move Ancient Song in battle, it converts Meloetta from a normal psychic type to a normal fighting type with different stats. So it still has the same ability, but the stats this time give you 100 HP with 90 defense and 77 special defense, which is really not as good as the previous form, but you are more defensive in the physical area as opposed to the special one. And then for the attacking stats, you have 128 physical attack and 77 special attack, meaning that they were basically just flipped around, so now you're a very powerful physical attacker as opposed to the previous forms a very powerful special attacker. And then lastly, your speed is 128, which means you will be ridiculously fast and be able to outspeed a ton of different things and deal a bunch of damage out with your equally amazing physical attack stat. So this form obviously is the physical variety of Meloetta, and it definitely has a lot of power behind it, similar to the first one as well. But with that, let's take a look at a couple of sets that this legendary Pokemon could make use of. So now before we go into any sets that make use of both forms, I'm going to give you this one, which is just making use of the voice form. So first we're going to give it a bold nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack. We're using the ability Serene Grace as always, and then for the EVs we're going to put 252 into HP, and 100 or 252 into defense, and 4 for speed to give you max HP, max physical defense, and then one more speed point. And as for the item, we're going to be using leftovers. For the moves though, we're going to be kind of using a pretty standard set that I've seen a lot and also put in a bunch of my videos, and it's a sub Calm Minding set. So you're going to use Substitute and Calm Mind. Calm Mind obviously boosts your special defense and special attack, making you more bulky in the special area and also making use of your ridiculous special attack. So with your max defense and HP, you'll be able to take a ton of damage from anything because of how high your defenses will be after Calm Mind boosts. But with that, we're going to be making use of two stab moves that Meloetta can learn. The first of which is Hyper Voice, which is a special normal type attack, And normally only Chatot was like the only Pokemon to ever use it, but because this Pokemon gets it and has a much better special attack to make use of it, we're definitely going to, and it's a really good stab move as well. But with that, we're also going to be either using Psycho Shock or Psychic as your other main stab move, so of the Psychic variety. Psycho Shock is a special move that hurts physically, whereas Psychic is a special move that hurts specially. So it's really which one you want to use. But the only thing you have to really watch out for in sets like this is the fact that you can't really do much damage to steel types, or at least you can't hit a steel type for neutral or super effective damage, and you're also completely unable to hurt a Spiritomb or a Sableye because of their typing resisting or being immune to both of these attacking types. But other than that, you're pretty much set on being able to deal out a lot of damage and also take it pretty well as well. As for this next set, it's just going to be a physical set for Meloetta to use in its step form. So first we're going to give it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, use the ability Serene Grace again, and then for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into HP, 252 into physical attack, and 252 into speed to give you your max speed, 1 more point into HP, and then your highest attack that you can get with a Jolly Nature. As for the item, you're either going to make use of Leftovers again or a Lumberry as a way of curing any statuses you may receive that could potentially hurt you in your ability to do a lot of damage to your opponents. But with the moves for the set, the first one we're going to be making use of is Ancient Song because it is necessary in order to change into this form. So basically, you'll start out in the voice form, and then the first thing you'll want to do, obviously, is use Ancient Song so that you can switch into your step form and then be able to do a lot of physical damage with your physical attacking moves. So with those moves, first we're going to be using Close Combat because it's ridiculously awesome and powerful, and it gets Stab, and it's great on this Pokemon. And then we're going to be making use of Return because that will also get Stab and be powerful as well. And for the last move, it's really up to you in terms of which you want to use, but personally I would go with the second one, which S-Claw stands for Shadow Claw. So you have really good type coverage with the Fighting, Normal, and Ghost. Whereas you could also use Quick Attack as a way of getting priority and being able to hurt things that, you didn't think you could outspeed or something to that effect. But with this set, I just figured I'd make note of the fact that as soon as you switch out, when you switch back in, you'll be in the voice form again. So it's kind of weird. So every time you pretty much put this Pokemon in, you have to use Ancient Song, which is the primary reason why I didn't use Life Orb, because of the fact that you have to waste HP just by setting up or switching forms, and if you're doing that multiple times, it seems kind of useless in my opinion. So this probably, though, would be a very useful physical attacking set with the step form for Meloetta. Lastly, we have a set that tries to interplay between both the voice and step form. So first, we're going to be using the same nature, EVs, and items as in the previous set, which was only step form, but the moves have changed quite a bit. The first one, obviously, again, is going to be Ancient Song, so you do have the ability to switch back and forth as needed. But then next, you're going to be making use of Charge Beam as a way to boost your special attack when you are in the other form, or this one if you have the chance to. Or this one, I mean the step form, because that's what the picture is. But it's a good way to allow you to get some special attack boosts since you're maxing out your physical attack, so you don't really need a boost into that when you're in the step form. But you could use Cheer Up if you wanted to, but then you lose the electric type attack, so I don't really know which one you'd rather do. But with that, you're also going to be using Brick Break this time over Close Combat, just so you don't get any defense drops, because obviously this Pokemon has 2 different defenses when you're in the different forms, so really you don't know what might end up happening. Like, a lot of times you can switch to the voice form in order to take a special attack better, because it does have naturally high special defense, so any defense drops kind of wouldn't be useful in any way, obviously, but not especially for a set like this where you're switching forms. So we're going to use Brick Break instead. And then lastly, we're going to be making use of Shadow Ball as a way to obviously deal special attacking ghost type damage, or we can also make use of Shadow Claw if you want, depending on really which one you want to use. But one's physical, one is special, so it's really up to you. But that is pretty much it for Meloetta. It is quite the cool Pokemon, I must say, and being a music major, I absolutely love it. But it is unfortunately only an event legendary, meaning that you can't really catch it in game. It's probably going to be like some special online thing or some special thing you have to go do in order to get this Pokemon, which is kind of unfortunate, as I just said. But it's still really cool to just think about what it might be capable of doing when you have it. But that is it for Meloetta, so take care, guys, and goodbye.